Hey guys, it's your buddy AVT Pro, Advanced Visualization Technology Productions. I want to share with you some techniques that I've been doing or I've come across and I had some problems. So this is going to be a very simple tutorial about a very simple task, but it's going to discuss some things that were problematic and really slowed me down for a very long time. I had a problem taking files out of ZBrush 2.0, which is what this is, into ZBrush 3.0, which is what this is. And so for a long time, I couldn't get some of my basic characters into this program. And so I'm going to show you one of those characters. Okay, and it just crashed. Okay, I zipped that in maybe too fast, but this is usually the program that crashes, so I'm not so worried about that. But I'll load it up. But ZBrush will crash if you try to load like version 2 directly in as a ZTL. So we're often kicking directly in what I want to show you here. So So here we are. Okay, now, first thing, when you have a multi-part character, now this is not a multi-part character. It is, but I believe these are joined together, the hands are joined together, and maybe the feet may have been separate. And so this is a low resolution polygon of that character. And I don't know if it actually has, it's not even subdivided. So it was never divided out and to where it's smooth. But I did this a long time ago and I was going to use this for a human rig and I might come back to it. I generally do a lot of blue and white in my character, blue and white, and a lot of offshoots in white. And it has a very slim build, very tall, kind of heroic guy I did. But I used a mesh from Proton and then sculpted it. Now, this is ZBrush 3, and well, what I want to say about this is like usually, since you can't import the ZBrush ZTL, it's called a ZTL. So when you save it, you save as a ZTL. Uh, so you can't import that directly. That's just something weird. I don't know what that is. But you can't import it directly. So what you have to do is save it as an OBJ. So I'm going to export this as an OBJ, and it's just something weird that keeps happening. I'll figure it out later. But it's a OBJ, and so usually it writes to OBJ, and you can see the line goes across, and the textures come in as well. Now this is one single. It's multi parts, but it's combined or combined as a group. So there's no way to separate. There might be a way to separate it, but let me go back over here. Okay, so now when I import it, one of the things I use is like the Z sphere. So if you had a multiple objects, and which I'm going to show you in a little bit, if you had multiple objects, you would just make this sphere and keep bringing each part of it in after you make a sphere. So make a sphere and then bring in parts, each part, and append it, and then you'll be a Z tool. I'll show you that in a bit. But right now, I want to import the OBJ for that particular thing here. Now, where is that? Fix here. Maybe that's part of it. Okay, so here it is, and it has that color, and you can switch that out, you know, make that whatever you want it to be. Here's I think it's a fast shade down here. And of course, I brought it in at the lower resolution because it has no subdivisions, and so there you have it. Now here's the problem I had. I had painted a texture. Okay, this works fine, but I couldn't bring in a texture. And that's one of the things I wanted to show you. Now I don't know where the texture is right now, so I have to search through my hard drive to get it. But basically, go here, import a texture, go here It says bump, so let's see if that'll open. I guess a bump works. Now this is what threw me. I bring in a texture now. In order to move this around, and always to move any ZBrush character around, you have to have the edit on. Okay? So if you don't have the edit on, it'll keep making characters like that. Okay? Switch the edit on. Bam. Hit new, command new, get rid of those. And then you can move it up. So usually I try to position this, get this into, and then hit shift, and then hit option, and it'll click it in and it'll reset the center point. Okay, so this was my problem. A very simple thing. Now when you load a texture in version 2, you load a texture here, it'll just show up here. It'll show up on the character, turn it off, you turn it on. Okay, couldn't figure it out. And it's a simple thing, couldn't figure it out. I caused them all kind of heck. I was right in the company. It was a very simple thing. And all it is you go here, over here to textures, and then you have to load your texture here. So this moment right here is gonna change like hours of frustration. If this texture comes in on this character, I mean, I caused the company heck and everything. Bam, there it is. That is why nothing happened with that character. Very simple thing, but if I got hung up on it, I wanted you guys to know it. So there might be some ZBrush 2 people in there. This palette was not part of ZBrush 2, and so I could never figure it out. And so this character, nothing happened with this character because of that very thing right there. So I just wanted to do this very simple tutorial and how to do that. Now I'll also do a very simple tutorial on how to load in multiple characters, but I think I had a character here. Now let me open here and go pupil. Here, I want to show you this. Here it is here. Alright, there's something wrong with this one. So it might crash it. We go here. Alright, this one should do it. So here's the other character. And so because of this, I was able to load in multiple characters, multiple parts and multiple geometry, and I want to show you that. Now this one is a single character, and their scaling is off, so that's why I have to switch, and they're not in the same scene, they're just completely two. This is a single character. If you go to the subtools, it's one part, but it's really that it's grouped in like Maya, and so you can combine geometries together, and that's okay sometimes. So let me go back here, scale that back into position, and so how I did that again was that option click, and so that scales it back in. So the geometry is here on the center main body, and I make different subdivision levels, and let me show you here. So here's the different parts of the geometry. And so what I did was every time I had to import a geometry, so I'll just go right ahead with this. Every time I wanted to load a different part of this in, basically had it in Maya, whatever program that you have an OBJ in. And so what you want to do first is go and, let's say, bring this like a sphere, have a sphere, and however, wherever it is, it doesn't matter. Normally it's going to be a big center thing like that. And then when you say import, you import each piece of the geometry. So there you have one glove. And then once you have that, then you can go to your main object and say append, and then grab that glove, and then it'll be appended here. So that doesn't have the texture on. So when you load your texture in, you get your texture wherever it is. So here's a glove right here. And if it comes from Maya, you have to flip that texture. So you go here to V and flip it vertically. And so depending on how you use it or painted it. Now this was painted in the other program. So when I brought it in, I think I took it to Maya, took it to Photoshop. You could flip it in Photoshop if that'll help. But once you have that there, then again the same thing. You go over to the texture here, grab and find your texture, and you can load it on like that. Okay. So for some reason mine didn't load on. Oh, because I don't have it selected. Oops, and I put it on the wrong thing here. Okay, so want to grab it here in the subtool because you have multiple subtools now, and you go ahead and grab it, put it on there, and then you have it here. So now I have two gloves, which I don't need, but that's basically how you do it. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. I wanted to show you how to add in a multiple character. So you would, again, you would make that ball, and so that is just like, it's just like a basic object, because if you don't have it there, then you'll start to import it over the same object, and you'll import it and you're like, why can't I get a separate object? Just bring a ball, import it on that, and then you can go here and append it, and it's in there. Okay, so like that, you know. Okay, so I basically showed you that, and is there anything else? So that's great. I'm very happy. Now, I don't have any, let me take this texture off for a second. I don't have any UVs on this, okay? And this is going to be very astounding. And I don't know if I can keep going with this, but I'm going to try. So I'm going to turn this texture off here. Now what they have is a new UV tool here, and it's called UV Master. So you load it in, and you can bring this whole thing over here so they'll line up there. Okay, so you can bring this whole palette, click it here, and it'll go over here. So then you can get your palettes here. That's the nice thing about the ZBrush interface. It's very customizable, and you can move things around quickly. So with this though, you can, I haven't gone this, there's tutorials. I was just going to show you, I wasn't planning on doing this, but I want to show you real quick how you can go and, let me see if I have any polygon groups on here. You can divide things into each polygon group. So this will divide based on polygon groups. So each one, you know, usually I didn't build this, so this is one piece, but I could separate this and separate each one of these into polygon groups and say group visible. Like, let's say like this. No, I won't do it. Okay, but there's there's, again, the tutorials they have online are very simple. But if you say control painting, and you have to, it'll give you information, like I just subdivided this, which is something that it doesn't really like. So if I go and I'll just get rid of this because I don't need this on there, the subdivision levels. Let's say I'll keep it here. I'll use it here. And then I'll delete higher. Okay? So since I haven't done any sculpting or anything like that. And then I'll go back up here to UV Master. And then I'll say ungroup. And so I wanted to use polygroups here, but I didn't. But it's starting to ungroup this anyhow. And it's really like a one-click solution now. This is the most geometry I've done this on. So now that it's done that, then you can say flatten, and it'll basically show you. So it's really one or two clicks, and you have your UVs laid out for a whole model, and it's insane. That's completely crazy. So I'm very thankful and very happy that I have the latest version of this, and I actually paid for my software because it can go in there. And I'm not trying to do one-up-ems, but you know, unless you have it, I don't think that it'll work in any kind of other version. So you need this in order to do it. And so that's one good reason to put your money back where you got it. So I'm gonna unflatten that. And now what I'm gonna do now, you can, I'm gonna set that there, but also you can do something called control painting, and you can basically decide um, where you want the UV, what area you want to flatten out. So let's say the face. Okay, I'm gonna turn that off. So that's gonna be an area where, all right, so it was already seamed, so it already made some seams. So I'm gonna say this I want it to stay flat. This area I want it to stay flat. Basically the front of this I want it to stay flat. We're gonna say it like that. Okay. Erase, I could probably erase some stuff up here. And so, I don't know, is it going through my model? Yeah. Alright, I'm not gonna worry about that so much. But here and here. And so I'm just using my mouse. So if I wanted to, I can go through here and really protect this. I'm just erasing some of it. And so basically I can just protect where I want it to work. But my concern is like the face and this area right here. That's what I'm gonna protect. And I think I could have cleared out all of this. So attract and ambient and all of this other stuff. So now I'm gonna say unwrap again. It's gonna unwrap. And as you can see, it's pretty stable. And my computer has not been all that lately. And this is a pretty nice sized model. I mean, this is a full character, and there's some hair parts and stuff like that. So it gives you a readout of what it does. I have 13 islands and all of that good stuff. So, or shells, depending on what you want to call it. And now I'm going to go here again and say flatten. And so now I should be able to see, like right here, you can see like the face area. It protected some of this. Now I didn't really go heavy into it, but you could see that that's the face. And the main part of the body is spread out more. So this is still, for me, this I would still take into Maya and edit it. But it's just such a huge, quick jump on where I need to go with this. And like, so this probably kept the top of the foot flat. But this, you know, it just gives me a really great, with this, it'll work. You can paint on top of it and it'll be fine as long as you're using a ZBrush. But if you have to put other designs and you have to see it visually, you want as much as this to be as visually comprehensive as possible. But for this, for me, you know, and the way you can edit in ZBrush, you can literally set this up to work really well for you. So I just wanted to show you, and I'm not doing a really pro version of this, going through this. There's things like, you know, it works on a clone, and then you can take this and say copy the UVs, copy that UV information, and it'll copy that, and then go to your original character wherever it is. I don't know where it is. Oh, that might be it. That might be good. Texture on. No, now that you put this on, those textures don't matter. But I think that's it. I don't know if it is or not. But you can make a clone and do that. But then I can go here and I can say go Z, and it'll take this and load it all into Maya. I don't know if I have Maya loaded right now. So it's a good thing to do that, you know, get your Maya working and have it already initialized. And yes, I do owe Maya. I do eventually put the money back where I get it from once I get going. Only thing is Maya doesn't have 64-bit. And so now you have this here, Okay, your model, this model is in here. Okay, and what you will see if I go here, it has UV sets in here. Okay, it's taking the texture in here, so it's hard to see. We'll turn this texture off. There. So there's the UV sets. And so now I can go in here and do whatever UV editing that I'm used to doing here in here. So, okay. So I just wanted to give you guys an idea of I kind of just jumped. Okay. So very, very straightforward, very quick. You know, with me, you know, like I do these UVs raw. I would start building, and lots of times I build UVs raw. So this is just a hand. This is just a good setup for me to get started with my UV editing. And sometimes I would probably want to do it quickly. Sometimes maybe not. I don't know. But it's such an advantage having something like this. And like I said, I was looking for a UV tool for a while there, and I hadn't. There wasn't any one that I was particularly. There were some good ones where you cut an edge loop and stuff like that, and then it unflasps. But this is even faster. And I'm not comparison. If you use the other one, then great, you know. But it's just a perfect solution, and a lot of I don't have to go out of ZBrush and Maya. And like in the last year, I purchased both ZBrush and Maya. So it's just really great. And it would be nice if the full functionality was there. But this is how you get it out of this program into the other program, and you use the OBJ, and you take your textures, you load it in, and make sure that you flip them, and then you go and you have to use this over here. Now, of course, this won't work now because I put the different UVs on it. So it's a different arrangement where it was just a poly paint before. So once you have it, if you want to take it into Maya for additional, or whatever your program of choice is for additional editing, you can do that. And then you can export this out as, if you do your rigging in electric image, you can export this out as an OBJ, bring object effect, or what I like is a FBX. And so you can take this and use a FBX and open it directly into this one, FBX, and open it directly into electric image, and it will have the UVs and the paint and all of that stuff. Now, of course, I will have to do my paint over. And actually, you can probably get your paint on this, since I mentioned all of that. You can, here, if you've already painted your texture. Now, I made UVs for this. Okay, this is I already had UVs on this. In this, there was no UVs on it. So what you would do is, if you had it here, you would just go texture to color and put a high resolution on it, and then that way it would transfer the UVs to that onto that object. So I don't know if I can undo it. I doubt if I can undo it. Put that on, maybe. No. Okay. So go on. Let's see. Yeah, I think I might have textures on this. Let's see if I can get rid of that really quickly. UV master. Turn off this. see if I can go down here, put the texture on. Oh, no, so after I already did the UV. Well, I would just load in the other, I would just load in the tool again, import it, because we would call, got what I did with it here. Okay, bring it back in. So if I had to put the UVs on first, okay, let me just get rid of everything here. I keep showing you guys more than I had planned on showing. That's what's happening. So if I load this here, go back here, load this in, have to hit the edit button in order to move it. And then if I load my texture on, as I showed you before, go here. I have my texture here already. Here, it was already loaded in. And it should be correct. If it wasn't, I'll let you know. I changed my color, whatever. So if I wanted this texture to go directly onto that character and then make my UVs for that, what I would do is up the resolution, so I would have it. Now I've never done this before, but I'm going to show you now. And up the resolution, I don't know how much, but and I don't know if it would matter at that point. So this is, you can, it's flexible that you can jump around workflow. I will go texture to color, and so now if I turn texture on or off, that's the texture is off now. So now these colors are actually on the polygons. And I thought at one point you could probably bring it directly in electric image with this, but now those are on the polygon. So I don't know, like if I go now, so if I start to reduce this, it's going to reduce the quality of that UV, the quality of the paint, because of the resolution, because it's per polygon. So how that all plays out, I don't know if that's necessary. You probably want to put your UVs and all that before you start painting. I mean, that's the normal way I would normally do it. But if you wanted to keep these textures, I'm just wondering if you can now, let me delete the higher, and now if I go and do the UV master and I unwrap, see if the color follows along. So I'm trying to maintain the painting and the texture. And so I transfer the texture onto the actual surface geometry. And it's a vertex level transfer. So now if I go to flatten, okay, so now I have the UVs here. Okay, so now I have my UVs, and I'll say unflatten. Now I'm back here, and how is that going to work with my texture? I don't see it. That's the old texture. So I don't see any paint colors. So I don't know if that's relevant or not. So, but again, my whole thing was just getting the textures on another object. I wasn't going to show the UVs, and I don't know even if that's a worthwhile workflow for you. But let's see. There might be. I could say new from PolyPaint, and so there's all kind of workflows that you can, all kind of tools that you can use. There's no PolyPaint surface on it. I don't know if I can keep it or not, But I don't think that's relevant right now. What's relevant is that I can bring the character in and apply a texture in the program, even if I had UVs or not. I can bring it in from this program into it. Uh, so, so that's good. All right. I hope that wasn't confusing. I hope it did solve some problems for you. Again, this was just a rough idea. It's not an official tutorial. All of that stuff is on Zebra Central, and this lasted a lot longer than I wanted it to be. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the CG Talk forum, okay? Or here on YouTube. Okay. God bless.